Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Punting Green, brought to you by oddschecker and pricedup.bet. I'm your host, George Elek. I'm delighted to be joined by Ginger Joe as we look ahead to the Valspar this weekend. Joe, how are you getting on?
Really good, George. Yeah, excellent. Brilliant tournament last week. We've had Cheltenham out of the way as well. Didn't necessarily go to plan last week. Quite typical that it was our first episode and had the worst week of the year so far. But at least it's out of the way, George. We can sort of kick on from here and hopefully we've got the recipe for some winners for you this week.
Keegan Bradley with a lovely hole-in-one. Doesn't pay the bills, but...
No, it gave us a little bit of hope, though, if anything else. Yeah. I mean, Hideki Matsuyama, God knows what happened to him. He started off with sort of a triple bogey, another run of 3 bogeys, double. Ludwig Aberg seemed very out of sorts. He hit a shank, very unlike him as well. Just never really got going from the get-go. We were very much on the back foot in round 1, to be honest. But look, that's the way it goes sometimes. Like I said, we're highly in profit. So we're allowed a bad week every now and then. And like I said, hopefully we can come back and repay our viewers, because I had a really good response. I was surprised how many people tuned in. So very grateful for everyone that's been already starting to follow the Punting Green.
Yeah, and we should say as well, the profit that Joe talks about there is his oddschecker column. So don't worry, you haven't missed any episodes here, but we've missed any winners. That was episode 1 last week. Before we get into the Valspar, Joe, just a quick mention of Rory McIlroy. This will be the first time ever that he's gone into a Masters with 2 PGA Tour wins under his belt in a season. He said after his Monday playoff victory that he wasn't at his best this week, and he's still seen off a field of 120, 130 of the best golfers in the world at Sawgrass. Where do you think his game is right now, and how much of a threat is he going into Augusta?
Yeah, look, his game's in a great place. He has got the golf ball on a string at the moment, it seems. And I suppose what he is suggesting there when he said his game, he isn't totally happy, but golf can change from one day to the next. As you know, you could shoot 5 under one day and then 10 over the next day. It really is that sort of game. With regards to the Masters, I am not a fan with the way he's going to be going into this mentally. There is definitely some sort of mental issue for him heading into the Masters. He has had plenty of top 10 and top 5 finishes, mine. So, it's nothing to be too concerned about. But I do have my eye on him for another major later on in the season. But I couldn't have him, George, to be honest with you, for the Masters. I don't think his price is appealing enough for me to get involved. I would love to see it happen, though. I really would. But I am on the side that I would be, I'd be a little bit against him, yes, for the Masters. The mental game is such a big aspect, and this is a course where he just seems to look completely different from start to finish. And I'd like to see a glimmer of hope before backing him for the Masters.
Okay, well, let's get into this weekend's event. As I say, the Valspar Championship, won last year in very popular fashion. Maybe not for punters, but certainly for one of the nicest guys on tour, Peter Malnati. It's played at the Copperhead course at Innisbrook in Florida. What are the challenges of this course, Joe?
Yeah, very, very good course. Very unlike most PGA Tour courses where you've got wide fairways, big flat greens. We've got a really good stretch of golf courses at the moment with the players last week and even this week as well. So, yeah, the Copperhead course at Innisbrook Resort, 7,352-yard par 71. 4 par 5s, and this is a course designed by a fellow called Larry Packer. He actually lived at the golf course as well. He died when he was 101. He had a really good innings, and he has left his mark all over the golf course. They've got 4 courses at the resort, but Copperhead course is the one that stands out. Yeah, Peter Malnati last year, 12 under par. The year before it was Taylor Moore at 10 under par. So this is a really interesting golf course to sort of take on. One word of warning, George, I must put out before we get involved this week, because at the time of recording, we do not have the tee times at this point in time. However, we need to be on weather watch this week for Thursday and Friday. We're expecting heavy winds. Not sure at the moment if they're going to be coming in the morning or later on in the day. So what I would advise to anybody playing this week at this point in time, before knowing the weather draw and the weather bias, is just half your stakes. Just be safe for the time being. We don't know the weather bias. So what I'm going to be doing for this week is finding non-flashy players. This is a really well-designed golf course, a lot of dog legs. You need to be able to shake the ball both ways around here too. And you finish on a very notable stretch of 3 difficult holes called the Snake Pit, the 16th, 17th and 18th, one of the hardest finishes on tour. The 16th most notably is a real big dog leg from left to right, a full 90-degree angle. And when you make the second part of the dog leg, you've got a real shallow piece of fairway with water both sides. You've got hole number 3, another par 4. You've got at the second point of the dog leg there as well, water both sides as well. So you've got a very shallow fairway to play to. Number 14, a par 5, a double dog leg. So you really do need to be good from tee to green here. What I'm looking for are good ball strikers, players that shape the ball both ways, but not too much. I don't want a real flashy player this week. I want damage limitation, a nice steady golfer that strikes the ball well.
That kind of makes sense. A nice steady golfer, and that's exactly who won it last year in Mount Natty. Not necessarily someone you associate with victories, but steady is the name of the game. Let's run through the top end of the market with Priced Up. If you haven't got a Priced Up account already, definitely make sure you sign up for one. Priced Up boosts across all sports every single day in sport, and decent competitive pricing in the golf as well. They're a quarter of the five. They're each way terms, and heading the market are Justin Thomas and Tommy Fleetwood with Xander Schauffele 16-1, Thomas and Fleetwood 14-1. Who would have thought just at the back end of last summer that Justin Thomas would be going off shorter than Xander Schauffele for a golf tournament? It would have seemed impossible at that time. Sepp Straka 22-1, Corey Connors 25-1, Shane Lowry 25-1. Double winner of this, back-to-back winner of this tournament, Sam Burns 28-1, alongside Will Zalatoris. Tom Kim 30-1. Jordan Spieth showing signs of life, 35-1. Michael Kim 35-1. 40-1 bar those. Any of those the top of the market feature in the staking plan this week, Joe?
Zero, George. Zero from the top end of the market this week. I'm not a fan of the likes of Justin Thomas. I think I might have touched on this last week. He's absolutely obsessed with how his swing looks, and he's paying detriment for it as well. He really is. He tends to blow up at least one or twice in a round, and he's sort of his own worst enemy. Tommy Fleetwood, very good player, struggles to close out tournaments. So I just think there's a little bit better value further down in the market this week.
Take us away then. Who's the main? How many selections have you got?
So we have a 5-man squad, but one of those players is 125-1 long shot, which we will go on to at the end.
Love that. Who's the headline selection?
Number 1 for this week is 6-time PGA Tour winner, world number 33, Lucas Glover at 40-1, I believe, with Priced Up. As mentioned, I want a controlled golfer, someone not too flashy this week. And he is a solid ball striker who evidently plays much better at difficult golf courses. He's been playing well this year as well. He's got 2 top 5s this season already. He was 3rd at Pebble Beach. He was 3rd at the Players last week. He was 11th here last season as well. An experienced class player who should handle these conditions really well. Doesn't shape the ball too far left to right or right to left. He's not going to be flirting with too much danger. And I think the way that Lucas Glover hits his ball is going to be a real positive attribute for this week. Does very little wrong. Class player. That experience is going to bode really well for him. Coming into this in good form as well, George. And when he seems to start playing well, he tends to go on a little bit of a roll. So I think this week, the number 1 selection has to be Lucas Glover at 40-1.
Yeah, a player who was ignored for the Ryder Cup squad, and seems like he might be playing his way into this year's Ryder Cup squad, and will make himself impossible to ignore if he carries on the way he's going. 40-1 about Lucas Glover. Next on the list?
Next on the list is JT Poston at 45-1.
Always
3-time PGA, yeah, absolutely, the postman. A three-time PGA Tour winner. He's won the John Deere, the Wyndham Championship. Another player who evidently does better the tougher the golf course as well. Shapes the ball well without hitting it too far either way. Again, he's going to be keeping himself out of trouble. Started this year pretty well too. He's made 7 of his 8 cuts so far. He was tied 10th in 2023. He won the Shriners last year, which is a real good sort of correlating course to the Copperhead golf course here for the Valspar Championship. I think he's very much overpriced at 45-1 this year. Starting to come to the boil slowly, and he's much more appealing than those at the front of the market at this price.
Yeah, JT Poston 45-1 there for Joe, second selection. Who's the third?
We have Ben Griffin, world number 52 at 50-1. Made 8 of his 9 cuts this year. Underwent eye surgery, George, last year as well, having found 7 holes in his retina. But it hasn't stopped him. He's come back and playing really good golf. Very similar golfer to JT Poston, actually. Plays well at the difficult golf course where he has to really manage that course management way and get himself around that golf course. 3 top 10s this year, 2 top 5s as well. Course management is absolutely superb. And even though I'm not a fan often of course form, he did finish tied 17th last year when not playing his best golf at all. 50-1, very much overpriced with Priced Up.
Feels like there's a bit of a profile of golfer here going to, not necessarily the golfers that you'd pay to go and watch, but certainly those who like to plod their way around the golf course. So we've got Lucas Glover at 40-1, JT Poston 45-1, Ben Griffin 50-1. One more before we get to the big outsider.
Yep. So next on the list, again, following suit, Keith Mitchell. Again, a very unflashy player at 50-1. Winner of
It's
the
a long
Honda
ball,
Classic. He does, yeah. He hits it a long way. It doesn't even favour the long hitters here. But what I like is the way that he plays from tee to green. Played really well here last year as well. Finished tied 17th with scores of 4 under, 1 under, 5 under. Two of those scores, the 4 under, 5 under, are exceptional around this golf course. You won't find many that shoot two of those scores this week before finishing with a final round of 6 over par, nursing a small injury in round 4. But he was set there to go really close. Even a round of level par in that final round would have seen him finish tied 3rd. He's a player that's very much damage limitation. Again, good course management. Doesn't try and do anything too flashy. Just goes about his business, tee to green. And then if he can make a few putts, he's bang there in contention. Don't find too many players that are able to shoot 4, 5, 6 under around the Valspar. He did it twice last year before nursing that injury in the final round. He would have finished much closer. I think he's very much being overlooked by the bookies here. Dangerous price of 50-1 by Priced Up.
Yeah, 50-1 he is. I mean, it's crazy when you look at the players around him in the market now. You've got Victor Hovland, who's obviously going through an absolute crisis at the moment with his swing. At 50-1, Sahith Theegala, he's 50-1 here. He was about half that price for the Masters last year. Cameron Young, who was runner up here, who was kind of this was a tournament he probably should have seen out and finally broken his maiden tag on the PGA Tour and was unable to get past Bananati. He's also 50-1. But yeah, maybe as you say, it's just it's these profiles of golfer that will probably appeal to some people, but actually look at their form and their fit for this course. There's a reason why they're such a big price.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to sort of just say, like you mentioned there with Xander Schauffele, he finished 13 over par the players last week. He really has been struggling since his back injury. He's actually a player that I put up for the Masters at the beginning of the season. And, I think he's destined to win himself a few more majors. Looking quite unlikely, though, George, with that current form. You touched on Victor Hovland again. We spoke about him last week, really struggling with his golf swing. Sahith Theegala, he seemingly only hits a big fade, not going to be very well suited to this golf course. So even though it looks like they've got appealing profiles when you look at the odds as well, not in current form. I'd much prefer to be back in Keith Mitchell at this point in time.
So who's the big one? Who's the head? Well, not the headline pick, but the big price pick.
We'll call it the bomb selection, and it's world number 167, Sam Ryder at 125-1. Born only round the corner from this golf course, and all of his best form does come at Florida-based golf courses. He hasn't actually won on the PGA Tour. He has finished runner-up twice. Both of those runner-up efforts actually came in Florida as well. He hasn't missed a cut this year either. He's 7 cuts from 7, playing really good golf. He tied for 14th last week, doing absolutely nothing wrong. He was tied 19th here in 2023. And then last year, he started with -2, -1. He had a nightmare in his 3rd round, finishing 7 over par. Bounced back to finish 6 under par, which tied the lowest score of the tournament with Xander Schauffele. That score is very, very hard to come by. He actually nearly did it twice. He was unlucky in round 1, 2. He's got the ability to score really well. He's a very impressive ball striker. Not the biggest hitter. He finds fairways, greens. And if he's doing that, he's going to give himself the opportunity to go and shoot those 6 under scores again. Again, even if you just halved that 7 under round that he had in the 3rd, he would have been bang there. If he shot level par, he could have even won this event. I think he's dangerously overpriced again here at 125-1. Good course form, plays well in this area. Good scorer, has the right sort of shot shape. He ticks all of the boxes and probably going to go massively under the radar this week at 125-1.
Not anymore. Not after you've said that. Sam Ryder looking to win his first PGA Tour event at 125-1 about Ryder. So those are our 5 runners and riders. Glover 40-1, Poston 45-1, Griffin 50-1, Keith Mitchell 50-1, and Sam Ryder 125-1. Any bets for us in any sub markets? So have you found any value elsewhere?
I do. So I have 3 small selections here for you. Cam Young to finish in the top 10 is 11-2 with Priced Up. He started this season really well. He finished 8th in the Century. He hasn't necessarily gone to plan since then, but he's not doing too much wrong. He is striking the ball really well. And as you mentioned, George, he should have probably closed out this tournament as well in previous years. I think he's very tempting at 11-2. I thought he'd be much shorter to finish in the top 10. I have 2 more for the top 10 market, and these were 2 players that were initially going to be on my radar. Tom Kim at 7-2, 3-time winner, tied 7th at Pebble Beach this year. A little bit too flashy for my liking to make the squad. He does hit a big draw, Not ideal necessarily for this golf course, but he does have some pretty decent form here. And I can't see him being too far away. There's a lot of players at the head of the market that we've touched on that aren't necessarily in great form. The 7-2 for him to finish in the top 10 is more than tempting. And then Ben An at 5-1, a really solid ball striker again. Similar golfer to Tom Kim, but hits the ball the other way. I've had him in mind on my radar as well for this tournament for some time. But now the weather conditions are looking very windy. These aren't two players that do well in the windy conditions. So although they made my list initially, they have been knocked off the squad. But I do think they're both good bets for the top 10 market this week.
Yeah, so that's Cameron Young 11-2, Benny Arn 5-1, and Tom Kim 7-2 in the top 10 market. Loads of other special markets there with priced up. .bet, top Canadian, top continental European, top Nordic, Japanese, Oceania, South American, whatever you want, you've got it there. So make sure you check out the priced up markets over there on pricedup.bet, and make sure you sign up for an account if you haven't already got one. That brings this week's episode of the Punting Green to a close. Thank you very much to Joe, as ever, for sharing his tips, thoughts and insight. We're back again next week to have another look at the weekend's event. But in the meantime, enjoy the golf, and please ensure that you're gambling responsibly. See you next week.